My girlfriend and I have been together for 4 years. We moved in together 2 years ago when we found a good apartment for rent. I always knew she was a bit lazy, but I thought it would change when we had our own space and freedom. She has a lot of collectible items, and her room would always be cramped with them, so I always assumed it was hard for her to actually clean around all that. I would often clean her things and reorganize her shelves and closets. Well, when we moved in together, it was the same. She has so much space now, and cleaning the house regularly isn't a huge chore, but she doesn't do it. She knows I'm very sensitive on this topic because I grew up in a dirty household. I do most, if not all on some days, of the chores and cooking. In our 2 years of living together, she cooked for us only once. Every other time, either I cooked or I helped her cook. I always have to remind her to clean the dishes, vacuum, and clear the clutter. And when it comes to the bathroom, if it were up to her, it would not be cleaned for weeks. I like to clean the bathroom and toilet at least once a week. I vacuum every few days and do dishes and organize the rooms daily, and laundry every few days as well. She thinks I have insanely high cleaning standards. This doesn't even encompass the deep cleaning, like cleaning bed sheets, windows, walls, the dishwasher, etc. She never does those. I always either have to nag her to do it, or she would do one chore for the week, like do the dishes. We have a dishwasher, so it's barely a chore. Or remove some things from the living room, and would then expect me to be in awe. She never remembers to vacuum or mop or anything else that requires more work, even on her free days. Before I go to work and she is free, I have to tell her to do at least one chore to take some weight off of me. And sometimes she doesn't even do it then. Or I come back from work and she starts doing it. We have had so many talks about it, and I told her how horrible it makes me feel to live like that. She always comforts me about it, admits it, and promises she will try to do better, but then doesn't. And then when I point it out, she brings up one chore she did, or something else too. And now she's excused because she's trying. But it's been 2 years of this. How much longer do I need to be patient with her until she starts to do more? I also feel like she never puts me first. Whenever she has a bad day, feels sick, or experiences anything that is an inconvenience to her, I try to make her a good meal. I often make meals that she loves, or I get her a little gift, or I take her out. I feel like she only does that for me when I do it for her. Otherwise, I don't get any form of thoughtful action, only for birthdays or occasions like that. It makes me feel so unappreciated. So much so, I haven't cooked anything nice for her or for us in weeks. I have started dreading doing nice things for her because of this. And she always talks about how she wishes she were more thoughtful like me because it makes her feel loved and she feels like I'm missing out. But then I comfort her about it and she doesn't do anything. She doesn't even try. I really love her, but recently I find myself resenting her a lot. I feel so unhappy living with her. I am genuinely thinking of breaking up. It just hurts because we've been together for 4 years. This is the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, but now I am having different thoughts, and it hurts because I love her in every way, but living with her makes me so unhappy. I know this will hurt so much, but I don't know what else to do. I don't know if it's me with high standards or her. I don't know what the cause of the issue is anymore. Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post did not have any comments. Now for the update. Almost a month has gone by since the last time my girlfriend and I talked about cleaning and chores. Surprise, surprise, nothing has changed since then. I guess I should have expected it, given that nothing has really changed in the past 4 years we've been together. Living in our own place was supposed to help her get her act together. It hasn't, at all. It's kind of sad because I had hope at the beginning. Now, I'm just tired and fed up. So, I've been doing all the cleaning and all the cooking in our apartment. I'm just so used to it now that I don't even keep count of how many times I've had to remind her to do basic stuff like wash the dishes or vacuum. She'll say she's going to do it, but then she never really does, or it takes her hours to get to it. I have to do it myself, every single time. She's just not willing to change her habits. Last week, I thought maybe I could lighten the mood in our apartment by inviting Olivia's family over for dinner. They're usually fun to have around, and I thought it would be a good way for Olivia and I to reconnect. I haven't felt like I knew her in a long time. We've just been living together, and I've been doing all the work to keep our home nice. Anyway, I mentioned it to Olivia, and she was like, "Oh, okay." It was kind of weird how disinterested she seemed. She didn't really have a lot of enthusiasm about it, which I thought was strange since she usually loves when her family comes over. The next day, I spent hours preparing this special dish for the dinner. I invited Olivia's parents and her younger brother to join us. I thought they'd like it. I really wanted to make a good impression on them. I know it was dumb of me to think that a family dinner would spark some connection between Olivia and me, but I was pretty desperate at that point. The day of the dinner, Olivia was on her phone all day. I mean, I get that people are addicted to their phones these days, but she didn't even try to help me in the kitchen. I was just in there working, hoping that maybe she'd come in and help me. Nope, not at all. She just kept scrolling on her phone while I was in the kitchen doing all the work. Her family arrived, and I put on a smile for them, even though I was feeling frustrated. Dinner started off well. Everyone was enjoying the food, chatting, and having a good time. Then, Olivia's brother jokingly asked about our living situation, saying something about how he didn't know how we got along with her, not doing any chores. I felt a pit in my stomach. It was awkward. I was just about to say something when Olivia tried to change the subject by making a joke. I guess she didn't want her family to know how bad it was. I didn't really blame her, to be honest. After dinner, we moved to the living room for drinks. I heard Olivia whispering to her brother, laughing about how I did everything in the apartment. I felt like I got punched in the gut. I was hurt. I tried so hard to make the dinner a good time, and here she was making fun of me. Later that week, I figured it was time to take action. I decided to throw Olivia a surprise birthday party. I wanted to bring her family together and have them talk about how little she does around the apartment. I know it was a bit passive-aggressive, but I'm not as nice as I used to be. I spent a week organizing everything in secret, reaching out to her friends and family to make sure a lot of people would show up. Olivia was completely oblivious to the planning. I guess she thought that since she didn't have to do anything, I wasn't doing anything either. The day of the party, I was exhausted but excited. I had worked so hard planning everything, and I just wanted it to go well. I heard the door open, and Olivia walked in. She was surprised to see everyone gathered for her. I was so happy, she looked genuinely happy for a moment. During the party, she laughed it off when people asked her about the party planning, making a joke about how I was being dramatic. I wanted to smack her at that moment. Her family was there, and they were shocked by how little she was doing. After everyone left, I confronted Olivia about her lack of effort. She dismissed my concerns, saying I was overreacting and being dramatic. I told her I was seriously considering moving out. Her reaction was one of shock, but then she got angry. In a fit of rage, she threw a glass against the wall and shattered it. I decided not to engage her. I just wanted to get my stuff and leave. I started quietly packing my things and getting ready to leave. As I was packing, Olivia realized I was serious about moving out and tried to stop me. She begged me to reconsider, but I was done. I told her I was leaving and that this was it. I left the apartment, taking only what I needed. I don't know if she'll try to stop me from breaking the lease. I hope she does. I hope she realizes how hard it is to be an adult and pay the bills and do nothing. I'm done with her. I'm not going back. I'm free from that mess of an apartment. I'm taking my time to figure out what to do next. To answer a few questions, Olivia and I never had any joint accounts. We kept our finances separate, which is why I could leave without any complications. My friends and family were supportive of my decision to move out. I have a new place, and I'm focusing on myself for now. Am I the idiot for ending my relationship with my cheating boyfriend after he tried to push an open relationship on me again? I've been dating Paul for 4 years. I feel as if we have a great relationship. We are very compatible in every way imaginable. He is so romantic and thoughtful, always making sure I am okay and getting what I need. There is just one aspect of him I don't love, and it's that he has always wanted an open relationship. We had one before, but it wasn't good for me, so he made the decision to be with me, even if that meant the relationship had to stay closed. About a year ago, he cheated on me for the first time. It was only some messages to a woman who lived in another country, so I let it slide. We made up and started to build trust again. Time went on, and everything was going quite well. About a month ago, I started feeling as if he was being a little more distant. I got bored with our intimacy life and with our messages and daily life, so I started toying around with the idea of opening the relationship again. A few days later, the topic came up in conversation, and I think I was clear when I told him I wasn't ready right now, but was not completely opposed to it, as I had been previously. We played with the idea and what rules we would have, but it ultimately led to nothing. Fast forward to yesterday, I was at his house waiting for him to come home from work, and he sent me a message saying that he wants to talk when he gets home and won't tell me what it is about. I started getting extremely anxious, which he knows about and he knew would happen. I guess he didn't think about it at that moment. When I couldn't calm myself down, I decided I would check his computer just to see what I could find. Maybe look at some old pictures of us. But I found definite proof that he had cheated on me once again. This time, he had been with another girl in the bed I sleep on, and what hurt me the most was that I felt replaced. One day we were supposed to hang out. He canceled on me to hang out with a group of friends he recently made, and now I know she was there, and that's where everything started. Right now, we're in a weird situation. We're taking some time off, and we'll see if we get back together in an open relationship, or if we don't, or what happens. But I just don't know how to feel. I feel so lost and betrayed. I want to forgive him because the pros of dating him outweigh the cons in my opinion. But I don't know how I would be able to trust him again. I don't know. I really need help. I don't know if I should get back with him, and if I do, I don't know how I would be able to trust him. I need help figuring out what to feel, what to do, and what is happening. Thanks for reading. Any and all comments will be greatly appreciated. I just feel very lost. Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post didn't have any comments. Now for the update. I'm still dealing with the aftermath of Paul's betrayal. It's been 2 weeks since I found out that he cheated on me again, and I'm still trying to sort through my feelings. I hate myself for still caring. I know I shouldn't, but here I am. Paul reached out to me and asked if we could meet at a diner to talk. I didn't want to, but I reluctantly agreed. I was so angry and confused, but I just had to know what he had to say. When I got to the diner, Paul seemed really nervous. He kept glancing around like he was afraid someone was watching him. He admitted that he had been seeing the other woman more often than he initially let on. He made it sound like they had only hooked up once, but clearly that was a lie. I was just about done listening to his excuses, but he kept checking his phone during our conversation. It was like I wasn't even there. I asked him why he was so distracted, and he said he was just waiting for a text from a friend. I told him that if his friend was more important than our conversation, he should go and meet them. He said no, but it was obvious that his mind was elsewhere. After a lot of back and forth, he finally admitted that he had feelings for the other woman. I didn't say much after that. I mean, what was there to say? I just nodded and tried to hold back the tears. When I got home that night, I received a text from Paul, apologizing again and asking for another chance. His words were empty. I didn't even bother to respond. I was so over it. For the next few days, I tried to distract myself, so I spent a lot of time with my family. My younger sister was visiting from out of town, and we had dinner at my parents' house. It was nice to be around them. My sister suggested we go out for drinks later in the week, and I agreed. I really needed to get out and have some fun. We ended up going to a bar downtown. I was just trying to enjoy myself when I ran into Paul there, of all places. He was with friends, including the other woman. I couldn't believe it. I didn't want to see him, so I tried to ignore him and turned away. But of course, he had to come over and try to talk to me. I wanted nothing to do with him, so I just kept walking. This made things worse, though. It led to a confrontation between Paul and the other woman, and it escalated quickly. The bar was packed, and the two of them were shouting at each other. I just stood there and watched as he stormed off, looking so upset. My sister noticed the tension and asked if we should leave. I said no, because I didn't want to leave if he was the one who had to go. A few days later, I got a message from Paul saying he needed to talk. He wanted to meet at my apartment. I agreed, just to hear what he had to say, but I wasn't looking forward to it. When he arrived, he had a serious expression on his face and was holding a small gift bag. I was confused, so I asked him what it was. He handed me the bag, and inside was a book about relationships. He said it could help us. I was just shocked. I didn't know if I should laugh or cry. We sat down, and I could see he really wanted to make things right, but I didn't think it was possible. Things turned tense again when he brought up wanting to try an open relationship again. I snapped at him, telling him he was out of his mind if he thought that was a good idea. He then dropped the biggest news of all. He told me that the other woman was pregnant. I was so blindsided. He insisted he wanted to be involved and that he wanted to keep me in his life as well. I told him that I needed time to think about it, and I asked him to leave. I was just done with everything. The next day, I called my sister to explain everything that had happened. She was furious and wanted to know why I was even talking to Paul. I told her I just needed to know what he wanted, even if it was something ridiculous. My sister offered to come over and help me sort things out, so I took her up on it. I really needed the support and someone to help me figure out what to do next. We went through all my stuff, and it felt like a fresh start. I just wanted to move forward with my life. I told my sister that I wanted to focus on my personal goals and spend more time with family. We also talked about taking a trip together to visit her for a change of scenery. I really think it will help me. Edit. I ended things with Paul after discussing it with my sister. It was tough, but I felt relieved. We're planning a trip together soon, which I'm really looking forward to. Am I the idiot for calling out my girlfriend for prioritizing her relationship with an older man over ours? My girlfriend, C, and I have been together for over 7 years. We met at school and have been together ever since. We used to have a really good relationship. When we left school, we both traveled together and got a lot closer. I thought I wanted to marry her, but about a year ago, everything changed. She had started to develop a very close relationship with a coach, Zed, of a mutual sport, and that led to a job and a closer relationship with Z. They went away a lot on work trips, and I guess I didn't see any warning signs. C eventually went on a holiday with Z and some others in their group. I should add, Z and those people are significantly older than C and me, in their 40s. After this holiday, approximately a year ago, and after almost no contact with me other than to say she had something to talk about, she broke up with me. It utterly destroyed me. I was blindsided. It soon came out that she was unhappy in our relationship, and Z had shown her that I wasn't good for her. It also came out that on this holiday, they were sleeping in the same room, separate beds, and not for the first time. I fought for us. I went through confusing limbo for weeks. She invited me over. We showered together, then she told me we couldn't see each other anymore. She couldn't make her mind up. We eventually broke it off. But after a couple of days, she came back and said it was a mistake. I took her back. For about a year, I have been struggling. She still works and goes away with Z regularly, so much so that C's parents accused her of sleeping with Z. Obviously, this made me feel horrible. I stuck with it though. I have been going to therapy since it happened, trying my best. Countless times I asked C to do something. Text me this, spend more time with me, call me at least once when you're on holiday with Z. It all amounts to nothing. Every time I have asked her to do something for our relationship or for me, she never sticks to it. Therapy? Nope. She said really horrible things to me that I have never gotten over, and she just doesn't seem to register that at all. Even after telling her how I feel countless times, I really am not exaggerating how many times I have pleaded with her. She only seems concerned with what she wants. I had a family member pass away recently. The night before I went away, I spent it with C. She was in a foul mood, didn't talk, got snappy with me. I asked, "What's the matter? I just want to have something good before I go and do something really sad." She didn't change her attitude. She said she was upset she couldn't find anything to wear. After our date of not talking, I said, "You really upset me. I wanted to do something happy before I go away." She kind of said sorry. As I went to leave, she turned to her dog and started baby talking to it. Like nothing happened. She just flipped a switch from being upset to being happy. That showed me she doesn't really care for my feelings. I was really upset, and she only cared about herself. For the first time, I thought that was really unfair. In the past, I had questioned my feelings, but in that moment, I knew I was completely right to feel upset. Our bedroom life is almost non-existent. It used to be really good, but now we go months without any intimate contact. This is only a snapshot, and I want to say, I wasn't the perfect boyfriend. I know, I have tried to change and be better, but I don't think I can do it anymore. I don't want to marry her anymore. The flaws I once found endearing, I cannot tolerate anymore, but I can't seem to break it off with her. I feel like I'm single, but with none of the perks and all of the drawbacks. I just don't know what to do. How can I leave someone who I've spent a third of my life with? I'm so scared that I'll make the wrong decision, that there won't be anyone better. I still want what we had, but that's all gone. What would you do in my position? I am so scared I will regret leaving her, but I think I will regret staying with her. I'm done trying to save us. I've been holding the emotional burden of the relationship on my shoulders for a year. I can't do it, but I can't seem to break it off. I don't have any experience like this, and it seems no one can give me an answer. Is it wrong to be so scared? How can I make the best decision? Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post did not have any comments. Now, for the update. 1 week after my last post, I decided to confront C about her constant trips with Z. I took her to this Italian restaurant we used to go to a lot. Honestly, it was a bit of a throwback, but not in a good way. C seemed completely distracted throughout the meal. I mean, she was just scrolling through her phone while I was trying to get her to see where I was coming from. Eventually, I just bluntly asked her why she kept going on these trips with Z. I was hoping for a straightforward answer, but nope. C just dismissed my concerns, saying it was just work and I was being paranoid. I noticed she got a text from Z during dinner and didn't even mention it. I mean, come on. I felt like I was talking to a wall, so I called her out on her lack of attention and how little she seemed to care about our relationship. C snapped back at me, saying I needed to trust her and stop acting like a child. Real mature, right? After dinner, I went to the restroom and overheard C on a call outside, whispering about having a great time with friends. I came back to the table, and she was still on the phone, just laughing away. It was like I didn't even exist. When we left, I mentioned how uncomfortable her behavior made me feel, and she just brushed it off like I was overreacting. The next day, I found out that C had posted a picture from a party with Z on social media, captioned "Best weekend ever." I wasn't cool with it, obviously. I texted her about it, and she replied hours later, saying I needed to back off and stop being so controlling. Like, hello, have you seen what you're doing? A little while after, I was invited to a family barbecue, hoping it would distract me from C's behavior. During the barbecue, C showed up unexpectedly. She said she wanted to make amends. My family welcomed her with open arms, which was nice, but I felt pressure to put on a happy face. C started chatting with my younger cousins, laughing and joking, while I felt like an outsider. It was just awkward. Later, during a game of cornhole, I noticed C and Z texting each other like crazy. It made me uneasy. To put it mildly, I confronted her again, asking if they were still in contact, and she insisted it was nothing. Right. Things got even more uncomfortable when my mom casually asked about our relationship status, like she was fishing for a wedding announcement. C just laughed it off, saying we were just taking our time. I mean, I felt like shrinking into the ground right there. After the barbecue, I drove C home, and let me tell you, the atmosphere was cold and silent. I tried to talk about the future, but she changed the subject to her work. A few days later, I found out from a mutual friend that C was attending a concert with Z. I texted C about it, and she responded defensively, claiming it was a group outing. Yeah, sure. Feeling betrayed, I decided to show up at the concert venue to see for myself. I spotted C and Z together, laughing, and honestly, they seemed way too close as they took selfies. I went home and sent C a long message about how I felt, asking for clarity about our relationship. She replied with a text saying she needed some space to think. That was the last thing I wanted to hear. Over the next week, C became even more distant, ignoring my calls and texts. I attended a friend's birthday party, trying to distract myself, but C texted me during the event, asking to talk. I agreed to meet her at the coffee shop where we had our first date, hoping for some kind of resolution. When we met, C seemed aloof and uninterested. She just said she was overwhelmed and needed time alone. Then she dropped this huge news. She said she was considering moving in with Z, claiming it was for practical reasons. I was just like, what? After our conversation, C walked away, leaving me at the coffee shop just sitting there. It felt like the longest walk home. Edit. I spent the next few days reflecting on everything. I realized C and I had been drifting apart for a long time. I had been holding on to the hope that things would get better, but deep down, I knew it was time to let go. I called C and we talked. She confirmed she was moving in with Z. We ended on a sad note, but I felt a sense of relief. I plan to focus on myself now, taking a break from dating. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.